Hey, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Dear God Love Me podcast. My name is Ro McKenzie, and I am your host, as well as the author of Dear God Love Me Sentiments of My Heart, Depths of My Mind, which is a practical approach to navigating through life's challenges. I have the honor and the privilege of chopping it up with my good girlfriend and sister. She is all of the things. And I am so happy and honored tonight to be joined by none other than the auspicious Tailor Made. Can you help me give a warm welcome
My God.
to my friend? Thank you so
Oh,
much for joining me
of course. I'm so excited.
to be the first
I
guest.
mean, Jesus. This is powerful. I
I'm
feel
excited. I'm
me
excited.
too.
I really don't even know. Okay, let me not jump ahead of myself. So,
Okay.
can you just tell us, those of us who don't know who you are, just tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. I mean, because you named, y'all, she really laid it out. She really laid it out, y'all. I mean, only thing she didn't say was, I'm a daughter. Come on, I'm a friend. I'm a sister. But like she said, yeah, I am a therapist. I work during the day in elementary schools and middle schools in New York City. And then privately, I get to meet with amazing pastors and leaders. And I absolutely love it. I'm the founder of Women in Pursuit, where we believe that we pursue God in all of the things. We say all of things, we mean all of the things. And so, yeah, there's probably a million things, other things I could say, but
I
y'all,
mean,
we really need to get into y'all this topic today. Whew.
so tonight we're talking about process.
Oh my! So many people's hearts just dropped or they turned it off.
Don't
Instead,
look, don't
instead
turn it
they'll,
off. Stay
instead they'll
with
come
us.
back. Somebody said, I'm coming back. I'm not doing this right now.
No, don't turn it off because if it's one thing Taylor knows how to do, she gonna break stuff down and make it digestible pieces for
I'm
us.
really gonna try.
Okay?
I'm really gonna try.
So process and I am I feel like everybody has a love-hate relationship with process, right? Because it's like, "Oh, I you want
Mm,
me to do what
mm,
now?
mm,
Like I gotta go through who?
mm,
When?
mm.
Where?" And I'm not trying to start heavy. I promise y'all, it's just the first letter in the book. So if you have the book, then you're not surprised. If you don't have the book, go get the book. But my personal experience with process is yeah. Like
Mm,
I've gone through some processes where it was like, whew, glad that's over. And I'm going through processes now where I'm like, whew, when is gonna be over?
yeah.
So I think the first question I think I would want to ask you is what are you can just give me maybe one or two if
Mhm.
you want. You can give me all of them if you want. What are one or two or however many ways that you have found helped you go through some of the most difficult processes in your life?
Yeah. So I would say probably the biggest thing that I've had to use over and over again, no matter the process, right? Because we know that we're constantly being put through them. We can be in three processes at one time,
Yes.
right? Because process just means the steps that you take to get to an end goal. And so we are trying to get to different end goals in different areas of our life, right? Like we may be trying to get to an end goal as a wife or as a mother or as a business owner or as somebody in ministry or in our family, whatever it is. And so the biggest thing that we have to do in process is manage perspective.
Ooh,
Because if you do not manage perspective, it will distort how you see what you're going through.
yeah.
And when our perspective becomes distorted, that's usually when we get really into like complaining and Like, when is it going to be over? And why do I have to do this? And what is the point of this? And are you even right? That's usually when we start to fall into that, because our perspective is what determines the quality of our process.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think about, I literally was just studying this morning about Numbers 11. And in Numbers 11, verses like 1 through 15, in that narrative, it talks about how Israel was mumbling and complaining,
Yeah.
and how as a result of their mumbling and complaining, like God got angry, right? And then when he literally sent fire, like literal fire, to the outlying parts of the camp, and
The hot
people
fire.
died, like y'all, fire, okay, not figurative, like no, people were dying by this fire because he
Yeah.
was so angry to their complaint about their complaining. So they cry out, they're like, they don't want nobody else to die, like, please, Lord, Lord, Lord. So he stops, but then they fall back into the complaining
Yeah.
again, and they begin to complain about a completely different thing. And what the Lord told me was that when we complain, it is because our perspective, our vision, our sight has been distorted. And as believers, our vision is faith.
Yeah.
Our vision's not natural sight.
Right.
So what the enemy does, and his goal is to come and to manipulate our natural vision to distract us from what we're supposed to be getting or supposed to be doing, so that we're not actually going through the process that we need to go through. Because
Yeah.
in the middle of the process, if your perspective gets distorted and now you're falling into complaining and mumbling and grumbling, then you can't be sensitive to what God may be trying to get you to do, or you're not going to be sensitive to what he's trying to get out of you, because you're not in a place of submission anymore, right? So what he literally does is he distracts us through our senses, because he understands that the principle of the kingdom, that the currency of the kingdom is faith, and
Yeah.
faith is not about sight, but he
Right.
makes us believe that if we don't see what we want to see, if it's not looking like what we think it's supposed to look like, then something's. Thus, we abort our process, or we delay our process, or we hold
We
up our
abort
process,
it.
because we're distracted by our natural vision. But as believers, we do not operate from that natural vision. So when you
Right.
manage your perspective, it helps you to preserve and to steward the process that God has entrusted you with. It is not a punishment. It is a sign of maturity, and it is a sign of trust that God would believe that what he starts in you, that you will allow him to complete it.
Allow him to complete. Now, I feel like I done lied to these people and told them, we gonna give you, okay, just a little bit so you could, you
Oh,
know, pieces that you, because I feel like my insides are like, ooh, ooh, ooh,
let's
that
all
is
take a deep, let's
so
take a
good.
collective deep breath, just in through the nose.
Because I be forgetting about mindfulness, but I need it. That's so, like, you said so much. Manage your perspective, right? Because when you said it, I'm thinking about it, and I'm already, like, thinking about my own perspective, my own process, my own, and I'm
Yeah,
like, "Ooh."
yeah, sure,
And the moment that you take your eyes off of, or take your faith off of
right.
what is really going on, it's
Mm-hmm.
kinda like, it reminds me of when, Peter was walking on the water, and he started to
Sure,
look at what
sure.
was going on around him, and then he started to sink. Bro, you was already walking.
Already
Just
working.
keep
Mm-hmm.
looking, keep going to where you're going. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so, 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 so easy, I feel like, to get distracted from what God is really trying to teach us. And I kind of feel like when we do that and we start complaining, and first of all, thank God he not sending no literal fire my way in 2022,
Thank God,
because
because
I would have
listen,
been somewhere crispy, burnt up.
I
Like,
mean, ashes to ashes, dust
"Girl,
to dust.
oh, you mean that pile of ashes? She's gone." Like,
Out of
that's
here,
what it was.
not coming back.
Like, because it's I feel like I just want to press rewind now and just replay what you just said, and then we could just end it.
Yeah.
Because managing perspective is really, 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 honestly, so, 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 so important. And that's helpful to me because no matter what you apply it to, no matter what process you're going through, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I can look at this as I just lost my job and I have no money, or I can look at it as God is trying to teach me how to rely on Him. He's
Mm,
trying to teach me that He's my sole provider. Like,
yeah.
okay, I have a job and it's a steady paycheck, but it's because of Him. Like,
Yeah.
there's no matter what you apply
Yeah.
it to, if your perspective is managed, then
Yeah.
you will be able to go through successfully.
Yeah.
That's just so, and to hear it broken down like that, it makes it like, "Oh, I can do that."
Okay.
Until we hang up and end the broadcast, and then you're right back in the middle of it, and you like, "But wait, what? Lord, what? But when? Why? What?" Like, so what do you say to that person who's like, "Oh, this is great. I'm encouraged. This is inspirational,
Yeah.
but when I turn this broadcast off,
Yeah. What do I
it's like
do?
crouching at the door waiting
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how do
Yeah.
we take our faith and actually put it
Mhm.
on our situations? Like,
Yeah.
how do you
So if process is about getting to a desired goal, right?
Yeah.
Most likely what has happened in your process is that you've actually lost sight of the end goal. So the first thing that you have to do is remind yourself of why you are in process. Right? So that's reminding yourself of the promise, reminding yourself of the prophecy, reminding yourself of the goal, reminding yourself of what you're trying to accomplish, whatever it is that you are trying to get to, which has put you in process, remind yourself of it because that's where your faith is going to be reawakened.
Mhm.
Right. So the first thing you got to do is remind yourself. Okay. Now, after you remind yourself of what it is, now you have to put it before you, and you have to put it before you in as many directions as possible so that no matter where you turn in process, you won't lose sight of it.
Yeah.
Right. So, right, that might be, I need to, and quite literally, I might need to put it all around my room. I might
Yeah.
need to put it in my car. I might need to put it at my office at work. I might need to put it in the bathroom. I might need to put it in the kitchen. I need to put it in as many directions that I might have to take so that I don't give myself the ability to forget why I'm in process. Because when we feel like we're doing things for a reason, it motivates us to do them.
Yeah.
So many of us are struggling in process because we forgot why we were in process.
Oh, that's good.
But it's our job to keep that reminder alive, because in that is the motivation and the determination that we need, right? Then I think that we need to actually make people aware of the process that we're in, because we understand as believers that God never called for us to live a life of isolation, which is why from the beginning in Genesis to the end in Revelation, we are constantly being bombarded with messages about community and relationship and family and groups and whatever, right? We don't even have time. I don't even have time to deal with that, right? But literally, Adam and Eve, hello,
Right.
all the way to the end, the church, right? So, you need to have accountability, which
Yeah.
means that you likely, before you can have accountability, need to repent for the pride that you've been walking in and not wanting people to know the process that you're in.
Yeah.
People need to be aware of what you're going through so that on the moments that you don't want to do it, on the moments that you want to give up, in the moments that you want to abort, in the moments that you want to go back, in the moments you want to take back what God said, you're not able to do that
Not able to.
because somebody's going to say, hello, bro. Remember you said,
Remember that?
or somebody's going to say, hey, where are you at with that? Like, I remember you saying that you were going to do this thing, but where are you now?
Yeah.
Right? That accountability holds you to it. Then you want to even consider, okay, I know that I'm in this process, Lord, show me, make me sensitive to all the things that you want me to get out of it.
Yeah.
I want to desire the lessons you have for me. I want to desire how you're trying to mature me and make
Yeah.
me better. Right. And I think that when we just do, and there's so many things that we could probably add to that, but doing those three things
Hmm.
changes how you go about it.
That's beautiful. So I hope y'all are taking notes. The first thing we should do in applying this is to remind ourselves why we're in the process, remind ourselves of the goal, remind ourselves of the end game, right? And then the second one was accountability. We don't like accountability. Let me not say we, I don't like accountability. But she also said that when you don't want to include people in the process that you're going through, first thing you should probably do is repent, right? Because that's prideful and we don't want people to know what we're going through. And let me stop saying we. Let me just talk about me. I have been in a place where I have been like dressing it up to myself and saying, well, I don't really want people in my business, or, I don't
Yeah.
want to bother people, or I don't want to
Yeah.
this, or I don't want to that. But really, ultimately, it's pride.
Mm-hmm.
But if we repent for that and invite people into not just anybody,
Right. You
if
don't
I
even
could
have, it
just
don't
put
gotta
a
be
pin
10
there,
people, but at
right?
least start with one. There's gotta be one person you can trust in the
You
entire
can
world
trust.
that's living and breathing, not talking about Jesus, right? Like somebody outside of God. Some of y'all like, but God is my accountability partner.
Mm,
Somebody
he
that you
is,
can,
but you need somebody tangible that
yeah,
can
we're
call
talking
you on
about
the
a
phone.
tangible person, not his tangible presence, a person, you
Right,
know?
right. And then the third one, write it down. The third one was don't tell me. The third one was,
Listen, as I'm reminded myself, what did I say? What did I say?
asking God to
Give
show
you,
you what he's trying to teach you in it. So
yeah.
that really is prayer, right? God, show me what you like. What do you want me to learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
Um, make me sensitive to what you're trying to teach me. So those three things will definitely, absolutely, positively help us in our process. The last
Yeah.
thing I want to ask you
Yes, ma'am.
before I let you go
Mm-hmm.
is, so we're mostly talking about the process of, and it's probably like the same thing now that I'm about to say it out loud, but we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about the process as in the steps that we need to take in order to get to an end result. Um, I wanted to ask you, because in my mind I have it split up. And I mean, you're the mental health professional. So I'm coming to you saying, look, if I'm wrong, correct me,
Girl,
sis.
no.
But in my mind, I kind of have it split where that's the process noun, right? The process, the
Mhm.
steps that we have to take. But what does process, the verb, look like when we talk about processing through um, whatever, like in a lot of cases, trauma that we've endured? We have to
Mhm.
process through that in order to be able
Yeah.
to move forward. We have to process through different things that we've been delivered from, or whatever
Mhm.
the case. What does that process verb look like? Like, how do I process what I'm going through so I can go through the process?
Sure. So I think what you're really speaking to is what I would say is you need to be checking in with yourself
Okay.
regarding the process. Right. So if I'm going to process emotionally and mentally what I'm going through,
Hmm.
I need to be in tune with myself, which means I need to be vulnerable with myself. But the only way for me to be vulnerable with myself is to care enough about myself to ask me questions about how I'm feeling.
Can you say that again, please? For the people in the back, I'm the people in the back.
You have to care enough about yourself to ask you questions about how you are feeling about what you are in all the time. Because if not, because when you're what you're doing, so here's the thing, here's what's really powerful about this is that when you ask yourself how you're feeling, you are honoring your feelings and emotions. And many of us have grown up and have learned in our childhood that our thoughts and feelings didn't matter. And so as a byproduct, we've been minimizing since then. And in the minimizing, what it means is that you often say things like, oh, I'm okay. Or you prioritize what other people think. You prioritize how other people feel. When people ask you, it can get so bad that when you're at a restaurant and the waiter asks, is everything okay? You don't like your meal and you will not advocate for yourself.
Listen.
And eat something that you're not. Let me tell you what I'm not going to do. Anybody
Tell
that
us
knows
what you're
me,
not gonna do.
people who know me and like there was like this running joke of like how one time we went to Fridays after church years ago, and it was like the sizzling chicken and shrimp, and they brought it and they put a slice of cheese on top of the chicken. And I was like, but that's not what it's supposed to look like.
It's not.
And everybody was like, Taylor, don't you know you're able to send food back? And don't you know? I'm not eating this.
Yeah.
This is not it. This is not
It's not
it's not
it.
it.
Look at this
Right?
picture.
But here's the thing. One of the things that my mom did that a lot of Black mothers didn't do, and this is not to bad other mothers, but she always made me feel like I had a voice. Like I always had options, even what I wanted to eat.
Yeah.
To the point that sometimes I would have one thing, my dad would have another. Now, some might say that was a stretch, but the benefit of that is I never felt like I could not advocate about it. Right? Does that mean in every single area of my life that I've always been the biggest advocate, or I've always been able to completely honor all of my feelings and all of my emotions all the time and just tell everybody all the time what I think? No, because that's not realistic. But what I'm saying is that I didn't grow up with a narrative that told me that my thoughts and feelings didn't matter, that I couldn't do some of the small things.
Right. Right.
But when you check in with yourself during the process, you're allowing yourself to know how you're feeling about what you're going through, and then to respond accordingly in a way that's going to help you to now move past that. Right? Because it's not bad that you're having the feeling. It's not bad that you're thinking these thoughts. Now that you're able to check in with yourself, now you can respond. Okay, I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling angry. Okay, well, what is a solution for what you're feeling?
Yeah.
You can't do that if you're never checking in.
Right.
So I think that is the way to process, is to be honest with yourself, open and vulnerable, to ask yourself how you're feeling, actually say what you're feeling, which means you have to actually know emotions, right? I encourage everybody to Google an emotions wheel. It will tell you all of the emotions that you could ever think of.
Yes.
And help you give yourself language. Because sometimes we're like, I'm feeling, but I don't know what it is, right? This will give you all the answers. And then from there,
with a pretty color wheel too.
It's colorful.
Yeah. So what do you do? Okay, so I have my color wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I have figured out that I'm feeling frustrated. I'm checking in with myself, which I'm new to.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do with that frustration? What is the healthy response to that frustration?
So the frustration means I'm just not releasing enough. So maybe I need to start journaling. Maybe I'm not releasing enough and I need to be honest in prayer also about how I'm feeling, and not thinking like I just have to come to him like, you're so worthy and you're so awesome. And like, you can't say like, I'm frustrated by this, and help me to see how I can maybe not feel as frustrated, or help me to see why I'm frustrated in this, or how could I, you know what I mean? Maybe I need to exercise, because that is a form of releasing. We have so much pent up energy inside us from frustration and anger and anxiety. And exercising can just free up space, right? Journaling frees up space in your mind. You can't think because you have 80 million thoughts. Write those 80 million thoughts on paper. And now it's like, oh, look at that. There's space, right? So it may look different for everybody, but those are just like a couple of ways that you may respond to and give yourself what you need. I love to, when I'm with my clients, especially when I'm doing mindfulness, I say, give your body what it needs. If you're feeling tension in your neck, give your neck what it needs to feel relaxed. That can be really uncomfortable because you're having to attend to you. And so many of us are uncomfortable by that. But you're giving yourself what you need based off of what you know about yourself to feel better, right? To be able to shift from this one feeling that you're having. If you're feeling anxious and you want peace, what do I need? Maybe I need to think about him more. Maybe I'm not really thinking on him. Maybe I'm not really thinking on things above, and I'm thinking more on the things beneath, right? Maybe I'm not thinking about heavenly things and I'm thinking about earthly things, and that's why I'm just so overwhelmed. So I'm giving my mind what it needs to feel peace by thinking different.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love it. I love all of it. Let's start all over again. No, I'm just joking. No, honestly, you look, I want to obviously do this to help the people, but you helping me.
Listen, we always do stuff, and it's not. We need to be partakers as well. I don't believe in
Yes,
that. Listen,
look,
get what you need always.
I'm 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 feeling encouraged. Is that on the wheel?
I
I
don't think,
mean,
but it could be. I mean, the wheel doesn't have all the words, but it could be. Encourage is a good feeling.
it got a nice amount on that wheel. But
Mhm.
I really, honestly, Tay, I appreciate you so much.
You was-
And I'm glad my headache went away.
Me too, y'all. Look, come on, let's clap for friends. We did it.
And I know I'm very confident that everyone who is watching got as much out of this as I did. Um, if you need to replay it, you can replay it a bajillion times because I'm probably going to watch it a bajillion times. And I just found out recently because I have the privilege of Taylor being my friend. So, like, she be telling me stuff about me. So I just learned that I need to see and hear things a lot of times
Mm.
before it really sets in. So I'm hearing it now and I'm like, oh, this is good stuff. But by the fifth time, then I'm gonna be like, oh, then I'm gonna be telling people in my life like I knew it the whole time, but I really didn't. So yeah, watch it as many times as you need to. Make sure you follow Taylor. Can you just tell us real quick before we close where people can find you on social media,
Sure.
what products you have to offer, all that good stuff?
Sure. So you can follow me on Instagram at TaylorMadeM, on Facebook at Taylor Banks, and you can go over to my website at www.taylormadem.com.
Beautiful. And you can also get a copy of her book
Yes.
um,
Becoming a
on
Woman
that
in
website.
Pursuit. Yeah.
So you by now you should have already gotten mine. Now you can go get hers too.
Part two of shopping.
Part two of shopping. We give you like good stuff, but then you shop too. And it just comes together. And we just thank Taylor for coming.
Thank you.
Pray
I'm
that
so
you got
proud of you.
something
Thank
out
you.
of it. And thank you guys for tuning in to the first episode of Dear God Love Me podcast. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Hey.
And we will be back soon.
Yes. Bye.
Oh, bye.